So I just watched this video on this guy, 100% proof that Allah exists, and he's got sunglasses and his Allah outfit on. So he talks about the golden rule, which is just like the Fibonacci sequence, which is just like the pi. Okay, and he talks about God exists because the golden rule shows up in different types of plants, and 1.6 is the distance from one split to the next split or whatever. Okay, the point is he finds a pattern, and it shows up a couple of times, and so therefore he's like, oh well, there you go, there's God, there's an intelligent creator. So you don't see how weird that is. Like, okay, so I can find a million instances where something isn't 1.6. Okay, grass doesn't grow exactly 1.6 meters high. There's not 1.6. 1.6 doesn't come into anything that has to do with the red platelets in my blood. Okay, so I can find a million things. The distance between the corner of my eye and my ear is not 1.6; it's more. Okay, so therefore it doesn't make sense. See, but the thing is, you could pick a number and then find instances of it, and then say, wow, there it is. And you happen to find 1.6 a lot in nature. That doesn't prove God. And even if that did prove God, how do you even get the jump to Allah? Okay, does it say in the Quran, look for the number 1.6? It is the fundamentals of all of Allah and all of Islam. I don't remember hearing that. Okay, so where in the Quran does it talk about the mystical number of 1.6, or the Fibonacci series, or pi, or any of this stuff? These things were come about. You're talking about something that was found out by people doing science. Okay, Egyptians looking at the world. People don't seem to understand what science is. Science is you look at things, and if it makes sense, then it works. Okay, and they found a bunch of examples where 1.6 happens to be this and this, and it's a good ratio of this to that. So great. What does that have to do with a God? What does that have to do with a designer? Right? Because it shows up a bunch of places. So what? Okay, if I roll a dice 6 times and I only pay attention to the times it rolls on 6, and I go, well, look, oh, somebody designed that, and I just look at every time I roll it this particular way, it lands on 6. Or well, but sometimes it doesn't. But it lands on 6 more than not. So therefore, 6 is a God number. It's just. Really, this is your proof of God? And then more specifically, proof of Allah. Okay? Well, hey, look, I have a number, 22 divided by 7. It goes on for infinity. Okay? So there's a random number that goes on forever. There's a God. That's the atheist God. Okay, created pi. And it happens to be that every circle, which is the most common feature or the most common shape in the universe is a circle. So therefore, pi is the most important number, which goes on forever, which doesn't make any sense, which is completely random for infinity. So anyway, the other thing is it's about random. Things happen. It's what's random. I think he thinks that we think as atheists that. Everything randomly happened. Like I just popped into existence, and things just pop into this and pop into that. It's not random. Nothing's random. Okay, so if you're talking about maybe evolution, maybe you're talking about that, or maybe you're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about, that we think everything's random. I know where I came from. I came from my parents. We have this thing called science. We talked about eggs and sperms. We learned it in 3rd grade. Okay, no, 5th grade, maybe 6th. Okay, so. So it's not random. We know a lot of stuff. We figured all that stuff out. The only stuff that we can't figure out, you call God. And so we just say we haven't figured that out yet. And so where's the randomness that you're talking about? If you're talking about evolution, maybe, there's random. There's natural selection because of random mutation, right? Things change, okay? You'll have something that's a change, and it doesn't always change at a ratio of 1.6, and then if that's something good and it's selected for by the environment, then that change will stay around and some things will evolve. If that's what you're talking about as far as random, well, that's not really random. That's something selecting. If we want a dog with a long nose, and every dog we find with a long nose, we take it and mate it with another dog with a long nose, and anyone with a short nose we kill. Well, that's not random. That's we created a long-nosed dog. Okay, but the randomness of finding the dog, of the dog being built with a long nose, that was random the first time we found it, and then we said, okay, now we're choosing and selecting that trait. There's no random. I don't know where the hell you're getting all the random from. And 1.6, who cares? All right. So 3.14, 6279, whatever the hell pi is. I'll throw that back at you. How about that?